Hi, friends, and happy Thursday. I'm so thrilled to be with you here today and chat with you. I was talking to a mama friend on Voxer yesterday and shared this with her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, and I didn't know this." And so, you know that I always love just sharing authentically behind the scenes what's happening for me in my business. And one of the things I know I talk a lot about sales strategy, but something else I'm passionate about is money mindset. And so, I just wanted to share some of the money mindset work in my business, in my personal life that I've been doing, and how it's really allowed me to create over $150,000 in savings in the last 2 years in my business. And I really do feel like it was because of these three specific things that I did, even after struggling with this for a long time. And I tried a lot of things that didn't work. And so I just want to honestly share with you what I tried that didn't work. So, in case you're doing those things, you can stop doing it. And then also just these really three clear, simple things that you can start doing to start not just making more money in your business, because you know that I'm passionate about that, right? You know that I have a whole program on that. But I'm also passionate about you not just making money in your business, but you taking home money from your business, right? You saving money, you spending your money on those things that matter most to you, right? And so I feel like there's not enough talk about that in the online space, not just making money, but making sure that your business is producing enough for you to spend and to enjoy in your life, right? So let's dive right in. But I would love to hear if you are catching the replay. Let me know with hashtag replay, and I'm happy to pop back and answer any questions that come up for you too around this topic. Um, so I just remember, can I tell you a story? So in 2019, when I really started working on this, right? So my business was producing money, good money in 2019, but I really didn't feel like I had financial stability for a number of things, right? Some people describe this as like feast and famine months, or like, just not feeling in control of your money. And maybe this is you. Maybe you feel like you make plenty of money, whether it's in your day job or in your business, but you don't feel like you have control or stability, right? And I'm a big fan of affirmations. So I made an affirmation. This is Anna 2019. Are you ready? This is a little embarrassing, but I want to share with you. The affirmation I created myself in 2019 was, I have complete control over my finances. Because that's really what I thought that I wanted. That's what I was craving, what I was desiring, right? So that's the affirmation. So and you guys know this is the power of affirmations, is you start to take action in alignment with that affirmation, right? So some of the actions that I took were, I felt like maybe I need to have this like really, really micromanaged budget in my personal life and in my business, right? I had done some light budgeting before, but I really went ham on like, I need to have this perfectly micromanaged budget. And don't get me wrong, I do think that budgets can be helpful for some people in certain seasons of your life. However, it was not what I needed at the time, right? So I spent a lot of time creating these complex budgets for my personal life, for my business, trying to figure out, what are all my expenses? What are is all my income? Really trying to micromanage and predict which client was going to pay me on which month, and really micromanaging the budget. Okay. Don't hear me say that it's not good to budget. It's good to get clear in general on like, what are my business expenses? In general, what am I spending in my business? What am I making in my business? But that's not what I was doing. I thought that the solution was in the control, was in the, if I create a tight budget, right? I also at the time fired my perfectly good bookkeeper. He was doing a great job, but I felt like maybe my money mindset, maybe I need to do it all myself. So I bought a DIY QuickBooks course, and I spent way too many hours, an embarrassing amount of hours, learning QuickBooks. I don't want to tell you how much time and stress 2019 was in QuickBooks. I mean, probably 100 hours, right? Because I felt like in order to make more money, I had to, again, that affirmation, I have complete control of my personal finances. Then, my loves, I realized that I needed to be affirming something else, right? Yes, I wanted to have awareness. Yes, I wanted to be in tune with my money, but I also wanted to save money. I wanted to save money. I realized that needed to be my intention. So I changed my intention to, I have 20K in the bank. I have 20K of savings in the bank. And why is this important, right? Because I think so often we expect our business to like never have up and down months. And that's just not the case. My business, all my clients' businesses, every month is going to look a little bit different. If we try to expect our business to make more money predictably month over month after month, we're going to drive ourselves crazy, right? Even if you look at big organizations and corporations, I can guarantee you that their revenue is not by the penny the same month after month after month. That's called a job and a paycheck, right? That's like ultimate stability. It's also ultimate, you're never going to have an increase for the most part, right? So I think it's just deconditioning ourselves from that corporate mindset and realizing it's normal in a business to have some high months and some low months, right? And so that's why it's important to not micromanage month over month, but instead zoom back a little bit. And this is why businesses do quarterly finances and look at your quarterly income, your annual income, zoom out a little bit and stop freaking out about month over month, right? In general, your business should be increasing revenue in the big picture, but in the small picture, it may not. This goes with everything, not just money, with visibility, with sales, right? You may have a week where like you're kind of off with your visibility. Stop obsessing. When you think about the big picture of your quarter, were you visible more days than not? Were you selling more days than not, right? That's the whole point, right? So let's not be hard on ourselves. Okay, what was the saying? Okay. So back with version 2, I realized what I needed was a savings account for my business specifically, because I think that I was trying to get stability in my income by making the same exact money month over month after month, instead of realizing, oh, my stability is going to come from a savings account. That way, if I have a lower month, because maybe one month a lot of people paid in full, or one month who knows what, right? Having that savings account is what creates the stability. That way, if you have a really high income month, you put the extra in your savings account, right? And if you have a lower month and you need to use your savings, it's there, right? The stability comes from you, right? This is the same thing when you are a business owner and you have coaching clients or done for you clients. When we expect to be fueled and stabilized by our clients. Don't get me wrong. I love coaching my clients. I actually am fueled by coaching my clients, but I don't expect to be, right? I don't expect to be, when I get visible, I don't expect to be fueled by that back, right? When I show up to a coaching session, I don't expect my client to give me anything, right? It's just remembering, keeping our mindset in the right direction there. And I think where we start to get cuckoo is when we forget that, like, where was I even going with that? I don't remember. Like the important piece is that we are, coming into it with a strong mindset. I don't know. That thought was gone. Okay. So for me, we're going to talk more about the practical details, but let me know in the chat box. Do you have a goal this year to save in your business? Do you have a goal to save? Do you have a dedicated savings account? I really feel like that was a big turning point for me. Instead of obsessing over micromanaging my business finances, having a certain savings goal, flip the switch, right? And if you're like, well, Anna, I still have some stuff on my credit card, or I still have all these things, like, that's okay. Create a dedicated savings account anyway, even if your business savings goal is just $1,000 and you put in $100 to start. I don't care what you put in there, but start to create that habit and that pattern, and stop expecting the stability again to come from month over month in your income, and instead expect the stability to come from you, from your savings account, from how you're managing your money. Oh, that's what I was saying, right? So if you have a higher income month, you put the extra in your savings account, and the lower income months aren't going to bug you as much, right? Okay, so let's talk about, and if you have any questions, by the way, I can't see your questions, but if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to answer anything specific that comes up for you. Oh, yay. Hi, Hope. I hate QuickBooks. Same. Same. Hi, Maria. How are you, my love? Okay, so I have 3 steps for you, okay? Number one, create a dedicated savings account for your business. I'm a huge believer in creating not just like a personal savings account, but having a business savings account. This means that you have to have a business checking account, right? So if you don't already have I have a lot of my clients say like, oh, Anna, I'm so embarrassed that I've been just doing out of my personal account. That's okay at the start. There's nothing wrong with doing that at the start, right? There's nothing illegal about that as long as you're keeping track of your income and expenses and reporting it for taxes. But I do think it can help keep it more organized if you open a dedicated checking account and a dedicated savings account. Okay. I like having a dedicated account to save for taxes, right? I like to withhold 30% of my income for taxes so that I'm not surprised during tax season, right? But in addition to that, I think it's so beautiful to create a business savings account. And so, number one, create a dedicated business savings account. I store my money at a different bank than my regular banking bank. Why do I do this? Because I don't want to see or feel the money, right? I want it to be inaccessible. And so my long-term business savings is at a different bank account. Thankfully, I've never had to use my long-term savings business or my personal one, but should I need it, it's there. And that's like, even if you don't need to dip into your business savings account, the reason it's there is to give you peace of mind, stability, and courage, right? For me, it gives me courage to know I can hire team members, right? Because should I have like a hard month, I'm still going to be able to pay my team members, right? Should I have a hard month, I'm still going to be able to pay my family and pay my bills, right? And for me, like that's what creates the stability is that savings account, right? Even if I don't have to dip into it, it's just knowing it's there. So I would encourage you today, this week, this weekend, to go to the bank and open a dedicated savings account for your business, not just personally, but a business savings account for yourself. Even if you're like, well, Anna, I don't have any money for it yet, put $10 in it. Put $10 in that savings account. Start to create the space, right? Long term, I think it can be beautiful to have a savings account that has a higher interest rate. There are some savings account that you can get that have a much better annual interest rate for long-term savings. So have that dedicated space and set an intention for it. For me, my first intention for my business savings was 20K. Let me know in the chat box below what's your intention for how much you want to put in your business savings. That felt really, really good for me. Maybe for you, it's like 3K. Maybe it's 50K. I don't know. Right. But set that intention. And then that's what I want you to start focusing on, not micromanaging your money, right? The way I'm going to talk about what I do every month for money awareness, right? But really to create that beautiful intention and then start affirming it daily. You know, I'm a huge believer, right? In my mastermind daily, I ask the women to do their affirmations. So your affirmation may be, I have whatever in the bank. I have 5K in the bank. I have 20K in the bank, right? And that way, when the money comes in, when you have extra money, when you have a bigger income month, you're putting it aside, you're putting it in savings, right? And there's that space for it. Because if there's not space for it, I'm telling you, it's going to go to a lot of other stuff, right? But create that stability for yourself. Okay, so you're going to open up your account so your money has a place. You're going to set that money intention, right? And while I think it is good to have like revenue goals, like how much you want to make each month, the reason I think a savings goal can be even more powerful because then you're actually looking at how much money am I retaining in my business, right? Really being mindful of like, what am I investing, right? Really being mindful of like, where the money is coming and going. Having that savings goal is making sure that you're retaining it, right? So having that intention. And then finally, another important step I did during that time was I started looking at all of my transactions every single month. Right. So while I didn't have like a micromanaged budget, I did have an idea. I did do a tally of like all my business expenses. So I had a baseline of like, oh, this is what it costs to operate my business. That can be a helpful one time exercise, right? You don't have to do that every month. I think we think in order to be like in tune with our money, we have to be doing like 5 hours of money work a month. And I've just not found that to be true, right? So, one off, if you don't know your current business expenses, I do think it can be a helpful one time exercise to look at what is my coaching cost? What is all my software cost, right? What are all my business expenses? How much am I holding back for taxes? So that you know your like baseline business expenses, right? After you do that and you have your awareness and you set your income goal higher than that, then after that, I think it can be so powerful to relax, release that, and just look over your transactions every month. And I know that it can be a discipline, right? I know that for me, starting to do this was a discipline at first. Now I kind of enjoy it. But even if for me, I have a bookkeeper again, right? So the bookkeeper is organizing and categorizing everything, but I'm still going in there every single month and looking at every single in and out of my business. Every single thing. It takes about like 10 minutes for my business and like 5 minutes for my personal, right? But I think it can be so helpful once a month to be in tune with your finances by literally just looking over every transaction, right? Number one, so you see if like, there's like any errors, like did something happen in error? Did I get charged wrong, right? Also, if you see like any software where you're like, why am I still paying for that software? I'm not using it anymore, right? It's just that money awareness. And I think when I first set that affirmation for like, I have complete control over my finances, I think like that's what I was trying to get at. But instead of like needing to have complete control, what if you just had money awareness, right? My friend Katie too does this great exercise where she takes her bank statement in hindsight and she looks at like what are the ways she spent money that felt good and what are the ways in hindsight that was like probably not necessary, probably not helpful, right? So I'm kind of doing the same thing when I scroll through my business transactions. And then I also do that for my personal transactions. And I look through every single way I spent money, whether it was eating out or whether it was on Amazon or whatever it was. Like, did I feel good about that? Or, you know what, next time I wouldn't buy that on Amazon, right? Just that minute of reflection. And so I feel like those two pieces were so key to me, you guys, so key. Having that intention for savings and then dumping money there as money came, right? And then second part is just having that money awareness, right? Do you have a day once a month? Oh, hi. Business savings goal of 2,500, right? Going through a divorce. I'm so sorry, Maria. So that will help me feel more stable 100%. And that is, so you guys know that I unfortunately went through divorce in the last year, is what created so much stability for me personally through the divorce, but just through life in general. And I feel like owning a business, no matter what your state is, just it's kind of unpredictable. And so I'm telling you, I can't tell you the amount of bulletproof confidence that savings account gives me, right? And I have a big savings account right now. It's not going to stay big because I am likely going to buy a home in the next few months or year, and I'm so excited. But I will forever keep a 10K business savings. I will forever do that, right? Because I feel like, and not a personal savings, that's an addition. We can talk about that all day long, right? But I do think that that's so helpful to just have for that stability. And that stability almost helps me make more repeat. Because, like I said, I've never actually had to use that savings. So you're like, well, Anna, why is it there? Right? Because it is that confidence. If I never have to take on a client, that's not a good fit. Right. I can always hire a team member knowing that if I have a bad month, that I can still pay my team member. Right. It's a game changer. I'm telling you, this is the game changer. This is the game changer. At least it was for me personally. Right. Okay, beautiful. So business savings of 2,500. It's so helpful to have a business checking. I agree. The cards look different. 24K. Oh, I love that number. It's like 24 karat gold too, Hope. So getting clear on like, what is that number for you? And then starting to affirm it. Right. And just trusting that it'll come in, right? Maybe it'll come in over a few months. For me, like I would dump like 5K in there, 1K in there. If I had like $200 unexpectedly, I would dump $200 in there. But do you see how that money starts to have a home instead of like just dispersing itself, right? Or just like, maybe I'll just splurge on this extra thing. No. It needs to go into that savings, right? It needs to go into that stability for you. So helpful. Okay, beautiful. Okay, which one was I at? Okay, so where was I? Okay. Dedicated savings account, money intention. I actually, if you can nickname your business accounts, nickname it for the goal. I also do something really funny. So on my bank, I can kind of see set like how much money there is. And so I kind of like on Canva hack it so that it says my goal and then I screenshot it. And so I can visualize what it looks like. And I want you just imagining like that 2,500, Maria, is done. Like that 2,500 is there, right? For Hope, that 24K is done. Right. And so really starting to visualize it and imagine it, even if you have some debt, right? Still working towards that piece. And I feel like you're going to be able to pay off the debt easier as you're really visualizing. Yeah, but also I am saving, right? I'm getting in this place of creating an abundance, of creating that stability in my business. Okay, let me talk a little bit more about how I went from 20K to 150K because I feel like that's a little bit of a conversation. Okay, what else do I want to make sure I talk about too? Um, I also want to talk about figuring out what brings security for you, right? What does that look like? Again, for me, it doesn't necessarily come from like, I think a lot of people assign security to my business needs to be secure and stable if it's bringing in this exact same amount of money every month and if it's increasing month over month. That just doesn't do it for me because I'm like, I've seen enough behind the scenes of everyone's businesses, even really successful businesses, that I know that's not the reality, right? I know what creates stability, and that is having savings. That is increasing your revenue on the big picture, right? So, how I went from the 20K goal to the 120K goal is number one, we had an investment property that we were able to sell. That was another like 70K, which is so beautiful. And then from there, I think I was like around like 80K, and I kind of like plateaued a little bit. And I want to do a whole nother conversation on creating money from money because I think a lot of times, there's like two types of situations that we get in as women, right? Either we are like scraping by and we like need money, right? In some ways, like I put myself in that position when I was like quitting my job and going all in on my business. Well, I had my daughter, right? I was like, okay, in some ways, and some people thrive under that energy. I kind of thrive under that energy in some ways, right? I was like, okay, I feel like I need to book out my business right now so that I can have my daughter. I was like 8 months pregnant, right? However, there also becomes a time in our business, or if we have like a day job that makes six figures, right? Where we are in a place where we're kind of creating wealth from wealth. And a lot of times this can be harder than going from 0 to 100, right? Or like going because there's like fire under our booty when we have to like do that. But a lot of times with the women I work with, when they have a day job, or maybe they're already making 80K in their business, but they're getting ready to go to 150K, right? Or they're already making over six figures and they're looking to grow, right? I like to have this conversation about like, what does it take to make money from money? And this is the conversation I had to enter in my mind when I was going from 80K in my savings to over 150K in savings, which is, are you ready for this? You have to root down to your why. Why you have to get down to a deeper level why. And usually it's not about the money, right? For me, there's been several things that have helped boost me forward, right? Number one was knowing that I can donate to organizations that make me cry and that I really care about. So a lot of times in a launch, I'll tell myself for every space I fill, I'll probably start crying talking about it, but I get to donate to an organization that I care about. Right. And so it's just figuring out what is it for you that really drives and motivates you to make more. And then what's that purpose for the money? Right. If you had that money, what would you spend it on? So this is the same thing if you're like making six figures in your side job, in your job, your main job, but you're looking to grow your own business, asking yourself, if you produced extra money in your business, what would you spend that money on? Right? Would it pay off debt? Would you build a savings? Would you go on vacation? Right? Would you buy a car? Right? Like, what would you do with that money? And getting so clear on that why is so key and so essential, and definitely something I can support you on if you coach with me, right? Getting clear, and it's going to be personal to you, right? Your why for creating wealth is going to be totally different than the next woman's why for creating wealth. And it doesn't make her why wrong. It's okay if she wants to buy, if she wants to buy a private jet, there's no judgment on her. It's okay if you want to buy a Peloton. It's okay if you want to donate all your money. Like there's no judgment, but the key is figuring out your why personally, because that's what's going to make it easy to create the income, money from money. Right? I'm going to do a whole nother live on that too. But I hope that was a teaser for you and I hope that that's helpful. Okay. Let's see, anything else? I think that's it. Like, I think that's all I wanted to share for those main three things. I hope that that's helpful. And I hope that that gives you some practical actions. Okay, let me recap one time, right? Creating a dedicated business savings account. If you don't already have a personal savings account, do that too, right? But specifically open a business savings account and put a money intention behind it and put all of your belief, all of your mindset work, all of your affirmations around filling that savings account, right? Put more energy on that, at least to help for me, putting more energy on that than necessarily how much money you're making in your business, right? Because then again, you're focusing not just on how much money your business is making, but how much your business is profiting, how much you're taking home, right? And then in the short term and in the long term, trust me, it's just going to create so much beautiful stability for you. And it's okay if it takes time to grow, right? It's okay if you're just adding $100 at a time, but then you're going to be able to add more and more and more to it. Okay. Dedicated account, money intention, and then finally, excuse me, money mindfulness exercise. And so let me know the day of the week that you like to do your money work. I actually have like a little checklist. So I did do the exercise that I told you guys about, which is like looking at all my transactions. I also I spend my business stuff on a credit card. So I like pay off my business credit card. I pay my contractors. I think that's it. I like move over my PayPal money. There's like a really short list of like things I do on my Finance Friday. That's what I call it. But it's really not every week. I would say it's either every other week or once a month that I do all of these things. And then again, at minimum, every month, I'm looking over every single one of the things that comes in and out of my business for money, and every single thing that comes in and out of my personal account too. But then I just keep it at that. Do you see how simple that is? Like, I would say it really takes me no more than like 15 minutes every other week. It probably takes me less than a half hour a month, right? But I think sometimes when we think about like managing our money, we make it so complicated that we avoid it and we never do it. Instead of just keeping it simple, what really do you need to do to stay in tune with your finances? And it probably is as simple as looking over your transactions, being mindful. Oh, and then also every month I like move money over to savings too. That's a part of that. But just, I would encourage you to create a little checklist. If you want to start doing Finance Friday like I do, create a little checklist for yourself on what you need to do every Friday or once a month. And then just you get to do those things, right? You get to check them off, and treat yourself well while you do it, because I think we have so much conditioning about money. We have so much shame around money. We have so much guilt and confusion and complication. Our world does not do a very good job of financial literacy and financial education. So it's okay if this feels uncomfortable. Maybe you were never taught as a child to save money, to spend money, whatever it is, right? So I hope that in this process, you give yourself so much grace because it's messy, right? And again, like I learned the lesson the hard way of like, what was my first affirmation? I have complete control over my finances, but know that like, I'm still glad that I started that in 2019, because if I didn't try, if I didn't fire my bookkeeper, I never would have found my path. I never would have found the way. So just start on your journey, no matter how messy it is. Even if there's $10 in your business savings account to start, just start the journey, right? Start it. Trust yourself. Be so kind to yourself. Make it fun for yourself. Buy yourself green tea to drink on. I kind of like doing it on Fridays because I kind of try to have like a light and fun vibe to it, right? But treat yourself so well. And if you end up opening a business savings account, if you put $100 in there, send me a screenshot so I can celebrate with you. I would love to celebrate with you. I think that that's so big and beautiful. So good. Okay. Feel free to pop back and let me know if you have any questions. Just a reminder that if you are interested in doing money mindset work with me in my mentorship, Sell with Heart, we talk through sales, but we also talk through team, growing your beautiful team, and doing money mindset work. And so please feel free to reach out if you're interested in Sell with Heart. I would love to answer any questions you have or do a free clarity call. Exciting that I will not be working next week because my littles are off school. So I get to take a week off work to be with them. But happy to chat if you have any questions or book a call in the future to talk through it. Okay. So grateful for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and just sending you, if you're listening to this, I'm just sending you so much love on your money journey. And I'm just trusting, like maybe even affirm for yourself before we leave, like it's safe for me to figure this out. It's safe for me to figure out money. I'm a master at money. I'm good at managing my money. Every day I'm getting better and better at not just creating money, but keeping money and spending it in a way that's aligned with me. I can trust myself with money, right? You're going to have a hard time creating a lot of money in your business if you don't trust yourself with it. I had so many fears, right? Am I going to be a bad mom? Am I going to lose friends? Is it going to change who I am, right? And a lot of times too, we think like in order to create wealth, we have to be different. Like we have to be more organized, or we have to be skinnier, or we have to be like, no, no, no. I love that Denise Duffield Thomas says like a wealthy woman looks just like you, right? Like you can be wealthy exactly how you are. Yes, it's great to improve ourselves, right? But also know that like it's okay. Like even when you're wealthy, it doesn't mean that all your problems are going to go away. Even when you're wealthy, it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect, right? It's okay to be wealthy and imperfect. It's okay to bring more money into your life. You can trust yourself. You can trust that your heart is not going to change. You're going to be just as generous, if not more generous with money. You're going to have just as good of friends, if not better friends with money, right? Your clients are going to be just as satisfied, if not more satisfied when you have money, right? So often we feel like money is going to change us for the worse. And it is good to think through like, what am I most afraid of? If I had more money, what am I afraid? Like if I wouldn't manage it well or whatever. But I think also we need to remember like, what if it made us a better person? For me, it for sure has. I was afraid that more money would make me a worse mom, but it has for sure made me a more present mom because I can outsource more stuff, right? And I can spend more time with my kids. And so, what if you could just trust yourself with more money? Can you just imagine that for a second? I hope that you can. Okay. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk soon.